Hello, friends. Here we are at Valley Unitarian Universalist. I'm going to have a short conversation today with Nancy Egly, who's part of our Board of Trustees, about her work with the Sanctuary Transformation Team and all the things that have started to happen and been completed on our campus that have made it a really amazing place to be together. So, Nancy, I wanted to turn it over to you. You were going to tell me a little bit about the team that brought this work and then maybe some highlights of what's gotten done as part of this work.
Okay, so we started about 5 years ago with a capital campaign where we raised approximately $1.2 million. The co-chairs of the committee at that time were Jim Horton and Barb Quijada. After a couple of years of COVID and whatever else, we realized that we didn't have the money for the new sanctuary, and very shortly after that realized that we didn't have the money either for the architect designed new sanctuary. So some people changed on the committee during that time, and the chair became Deanne McClenahan and the co-chair Mary Erickson, and some people rotated on and off the committee, and we started to work on what do we do with the sanctuary in its current state, and in about a week it will finally be finished. Last year we did the floor in the sanctuary and some cleanup and some things that, in all honesty, were so long ago I don't quite remember. This year, we've done the second half of the kitchen. So the kitchen is complete. The restrooms have been modernized with new sinks and counters and spruced up with paint and consideration for lighting. The sanctuary has been painted in a very, what I wish to say, unexpected way that really highlights the artwork in the front of the sanctuary. And the committee is getting ready to wind their work down. Some things happened in addition to just the sanctuary work that allowed the institution of Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation to continue to function. There were air conditioners replaced out of the money that the congregants invested, and there were also sound equipment contributions from the Sanctuary Transformation Team that allowed us to get better capacity for being broadcast on the internet with YouTube and with Zoom when appropriate.
So I flashed a little picture of one of the views of that. I'm going to actually pull up a couple more because you described the colors, and it's, if you haven't been in there, it's really quite striking. It looks very beautiful, and of course the furniture that we've added is also really beautiful. So let me pull up a couple of more pictures of that just so that folks can actually see. So here's a good view of how different that piece of artwork looks in the background with the new colors. We've got multiple different colors. You can sort of see a bit of the even the curtain that we placed across those doorways just to kind of even add the effect. And we have in this slide a couple different views, one without the new podium and one with the new podium. And then you can see the backside of the podium. One of the things we'd asked for with this new podium was a sort of the opportunity for it to be easy to move. So you can see from the way that it was designed here that if we don't want it on the stage for any reason, we can easily fold it up, which you don't really think of wooden furniture as being foldable, but that is the case with how we designed this. So looks really great. You can still see in this picture a little blue arrow pointing up. There's a little bit of finish work that's still getting done, and there's some things around the sanctuary helping us remember where those are. That's all that arrow is. It's not permanent. But really helpful to kind of, I think, see a view of what that looks like. And you can see the beautiful flooring you guys picked out too. A couple different shades of it, and there's a beautiful design in the pattern. Kitchen starting to look just as beautiful with all the new cabinets and more functionality with the stove. I mean, just lots of little things that happened there that were really important, both to how our space looks, but also how it functions. Um, so yeah, thanks for that overview. Hey, we did some real practical things too with air conditioners. You want to say anything about what we've had to do in terms of updating that part of our property?
Only that there are several air conditioners on the property, and I don't know personally the number, but throughout the last probably 3 years, we now have replaced all the air conditioners on the VUU campus. And had we not had the capital campaign, we wouldn't have had the resources to do that.
Yeah, and it's a really important set of updates because it also impacts the people who rent from us. Some of those air conditioners were the ones that sit over the Adobe classrooms, and we even had classrooms that were out of use for a short period of time during the summer because we just needed to replace the air conditioner. So yeah, a major investment that we've made in our infrastructure, both in terms of making it more beautiful, but also more usable. Can't live in Arizona without our air conditioning. So that was a really important piece for us to do. And you don't do those every year. So once you've replaced them, it'll be quite some time before we have to do that again. So lots of important work that was done on all of those projects. We really want to thank the team for all that you put in with it. How do you feel when you walk into the space now?
It's pretty amazing. And I'd like to share one more thing that's going to be important for the congregation to think about. Because of COVID, we had some government money, and that has some remnants in our budget now. And that is come to an end. But the interesting thing that we were able to do was have part of the money from the capital campaign go to a recovery fund to help us out with that. So one of the challenges with our budget is taking care of the changes from the one-time money to being sustainable as a congregation through its members. The other thing that we've been able to do is plan for and start a reserve fund, and there'll be a reserve study. So there is plan and a schedule for what needs attention when and how much resource we're going to need for those kind of things to be tended to. Oftentimes we found ourselves, since I've been a member, and I don't know about before, but people seem to indicate that it was similar. I have been around since 2004, joined in 2005, and we've been notorious for not having a fallback position or emergency funds, and maybe not being able to do the best maintenance and cleaning and care. So we're trying to fill some of those gaps.
Really important long-term strategic planning around how we best use our resources and make sure resources are available when they're needed. And it seems like Valley has started to really get better at that. I've noticed since I've been here that we have had lots of contingency planning going on, And some of the structures that you've put in place have been really pivotal in making sure that you could meet an emergency in the moment. But what you're saying is that we need to start planning for the future as well, and that in this moment we need to be thinking about how we are increasing our resources so that over time we can replace things when they need to be replaced, and deal with the next kinds of updates that need to happen on our campus. So that's really great. I will also say that we've been working on a plan for renting out our space more. We have a couple of long-term renters that work with us. Obviously, we work with Adobe Montessori School that rents out our space for their small school, mostly on the education side of campus throughout the year. And that brings in a pretty good amount of revenue for us. But it also means that we have a responsibility as the landowner to make sure that that property is in good shape and is usable by them. And then we also have a number of other organizations that use our property regularly for meetings, for other religious purposes. We have a small group of Jewish congregation that meets here, and a number of other nonprofit organizations and individuals that rent our space either for one-time events like a wedding or a party or a memorial service, or that use it for other kinds of activities and events that they need either a small room like on our education side, or some other space. So we hope that you'll spread the word to your friends and family that this is a great place to plan a special event. As you've seen, our sanctuary looks really beautiful, and we've made a lot of updates that make it very usable. Um, we didn't really mention the ways that we've made it more accessible, and I wonder if we can just highlight that too for a moment. Because we've made that sanctuary more accessible in ways that it wasn't before, that I think are really important and really highlight what our values are.
I didn't say as much about that as I could have, since it's been something I've been working on since 2005. But we have now, to be installed soon, accessible restroom for the men's room. The women's room is already an accessible door, and there's an accessible door opener to be installed in the next several days for the door to enter the sanctuary. The other thing I want to highlight is that it's time for the congregation to be really proud of the fact that we've made this much progress with this limited amount of resources.
I agree. And we've also made it more hearing accessible. And, actually, one of the things we do that isn't necessarily, um, that's making use of the equipment we bought is we make sure that when we are using the screens up front, that folks can actually read the lyrics to things and see all the information they need to on those screens. Makes it very, very user friendly. And we also have accessibility to the stage now that we didn't have before. So lots of ways that we've worked on making it accessible. We also have a security system that helps keep all of the stuff inside safe. So lots of little pieces that we've invested in that make it a really great project, or set of projects, I guess, that we've basically completed now. So lots of room to celebrate, lots of room to think about what's next and how we're going to keep investing in our property and in the ways in which this property helps us to be a community and also helps us to share with the rest of the community, creates a space for other folks to use as well. Well, I can't think of anything else I want to ask you, Nancy. Is there anything else you think folks need to know before we let them go?
Well, the ramp was my pet for a lot of years, and it's perfect. And it's made out of concrete, so it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's so great, and it looks really great as well. We've found lots of ways to use it, even in worship services that I would have never even thought of. So um, it's a really great addition, and it makes a really sometimes the smallest thing makes the biggest difference. And being able to be accessible to anyone to get in on and off stage is a really important piece of. We want everybody to be welcome up there. We're a faith that believes that no one person is in charge of leading worship or bringing the truth to us. And so everybody should have access to that space in order to share with us their story and their perspective. So I applaud that we finally have that. Well, I really appreciate you and the work that you've done on the Board of Trustees and the work on this team. I look forward to future conversations with you about other things happening on our campus. And have a great afternoon. Looks like you're enjoying the sunshine.
Thank you very much. And if there's a dog barking in the background, it's mine. And I apologize if you all can hear it.
We love dogs. It's all good. Thank you, Nancy.
Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Reverend Sarah Oglesby-Dunegan, the Senior Settled Minister at Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We're inviting you to sustain our community through new financial contributions, continued financial support, and increasing your financial support if you're able to do so. We need about $90,000 more in pledge income from last year's budget to support our continued work in this congregation. Maybe you've never pledged before. You can make a monthly, quarterly, biannual, or annual contribution through your own bank account or through our website. This is a lot how we support other member organizations in our community, but in this case, we have about 300 members and another 150 or so friends who participate in our community. And we currently have less than 200 pledging units, families or households that make a pledge. What does this mean to you and your community? How much do you value the work this congregation does in the larger Phoenix metro area? With your contributions, we can make sure the Valley UU is still here for future generations that need a faith community that offers all the things that Valley offers. Excellent youth faith formation that prepares kids to live in a pluralistic community with respect for a wide range of beliefs and practices, grounded by a moral compass built from compassion, inquiry, accountability, and integrity. We also have adult faith formation that has a commitment to social justice and service alongside spiritual and intellectual development. We participate in interfaith community organizing, and we have worship that is engaging, renewing, and inspiring. We have a lot of mutual aid and care that holds us through all of life's challenges and celebrations. Valley UU is a healthy, interdependent community that values your contributions. Thanks for adding your special ingredients that nourish and sustain this community. May we find there is abundance where abundance is needed.